You know, Netflix films are notoriously awful, but this seems like a new low. So, I didn't want to see this movie. I didn't. But, hang on, let me adjust my seat. There we go. But, I did. And you know why I didn't want to see this movie? It's because it came from Netflix. And there was a video, ironically, that came out, I think, yesterday, that talked about this and talked about the Netflix formula and how they make their films. I was also talking about this movie from Friendly Space Ninja. And he talked about what the actual Netflix formula is. Yeah, I know I'm sweating. It's hot. My air conditioning is not working in this room right now. So you're just going to have to deal with that. But back to my point. Netflix, you may have noticed that whenever you watch a Netflix film, you forget about it within 2 days. And there's a reason for that. And it's because their movies are not made to be movies. They are made as advertisements for the platform. And if you don't know what I mean, here is a list of Netflix films that I have reviewed, and I want to know how many of you have actually seen these movies, or if you have seen them, how many of you remember them. Red Notice, Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of the Fire Saga, Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves. Let's think. Enola Holmes, Project Power. And those are just the ones off the top of my head. Sweet Girl. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. I have seen many other Netflix movies. How about Animal Crackers? Or Chicken Hair? Or Secret Magic Control Agency? Those are a couple animated ones that nobody remembers. And you know what? Chicken Hair was actually good. And then there's ones that I have not seen. Like The Mother. Or Triple Frontier. Or Six Underground. Or Atom Project. I saw that one. I gave that an A+, and I regretted that. It should be dropped to like a B- or C+, and I barely remember a damn thing about it. That's the thing. They're not made to be remembered. They're made to get people hooked on a Netflix subscription so that they pay $20 a month or whatever it is, so that they consume the movie once, forget about it, and then they're stuck with a subscription. And the same steps are always followed. Again, if you want a more in-depth analysis of this, go watch Friendly Space Ninja's video, because he broke it down pretty thoroughly, but I'm just going to do it briefly. 1. You write a script that requires no intelligence to consume. Even to the point where if you remember the character's name after 2 days, it's too smart. You got to dumb it down. Step 2. You hire as many A-list actors as possible. Hell, just Red Notice was guilty of this. Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, Dwayne Johnson, or Atom Project. Ryan Reynolds again. Mark Ruffalo, Catherine Keener. And even if you have to throw all your money at these people, don't worry. We'll inflate the budget all the way to $200 million if need be. That's what the budget was for Red Notice, might I add. And then, speaking of that, a step I added is throw as much money into this project as fucking possible. Doesn't matter the cost, doesn't matter if this is 20 million or 200 million, we will do it. And then the final step is the funniest one, and it's market the shit out of this movie to the point where you put more effort into your marketing than you do your script. That's the formula for the Netflix films, and it's really telling. Again, so many of these Netflix films I've reviewed, and I've hated like 90% of them, but I don't remember them. I mean, I remember the names of the movies, but it'd be hard-pressed to remember a single damn thing about them other than the people involved. Because again, that's the draw. The people involved, not the story. Speaking of stories, let's get to this movies. This is one of the stupidest movies I have ever watched. So the main premise of this is this girl named Elodie is brought to the kingdom to marry the prince, seemingly out of nowhere. And everything seems perfect. The prince is not a spoiled brat, he's actually a nice guy. And the kingdom seems pretty good. Her family is going to obtain enough wealth to maintain their whatever they run, I don't really remember, because again, you'd be hard-pressed to remember much about this, so it's mostly going to be the broad strokes of the plot here, because I saw this 3 days ago. And then it is revealed that she's not here to marry the prince, but she's here to be sacrificed to a dragon. And we'll come back to that, but I will say that the twist, in theory, is okay, but it's ruined by the rest of the film. And that's 35 or 40 minutes into the movie. It takes a long-ass time to get there. I get that they were trying... I'm assuming the idea here was they were trying to build up the kingdom being this perfect place for her and her family, only to have the rug pulled out from under them at the last second. But it is unbearable because of how shitty the dialogue is and the acting in this movie. Despite having some great actresses like Millie Bobby Brown and Angela Bassett, they are giving half-assed. I've seen a lot of the reviews praise Brown's performance in this, and while she's been good in other things, hell, even Enola Holmes she was pretty good in, she's giving it half-assed here. Her line delivery is unbearable, and that goes for everybody too. Oh, by the way, her mother is nowhere to be found. It says she has a stepmother played by Angela Bassett, because I guess they didn't want to be called racist by the liberal morons, so they added a black woman into her family for no reason. I mean, her being her stepmother has no bearing on the plot, so it seems like they just did it for diversity purposes, which this is Netflix, so I 100% would believe that if you told me that was the case. And then the next 30 minutes of the movie, because this movie seems to be split up perfectly in 3 acts that are about a half an hour apiece. The next half hour is just her running from the dragon, finding a hiding spot, getting found, running away, finding a hiding spot, getting found, running away, repeat for 30 minutes. And it is insufferable, and it doesn't help with the CGI is not that great. I mean, I guess the dragon CGI is fine. I mean, there are times where it looks pretty awful, but I guess it looks okay. The green screens are pretty bad. And there's some really stupid moments. Like, she has some weird dream or vision of the other women who have been sacrificed to this dragon, which, trust me, we'll get back to in a little bit. And she finds a map on the wall that points to the exit, an exit. And then she finds the dead body near the exit. Does that mean that person found the exit, went back to draw it, and then tried to escape? Why? Escape now while you can. Well, it turns out to be a dead end anyway, so that plot point ended up being pointless. Then we get to the big twist of the movie, where there was a prologue that I skipped over, where basically centuries ago, the people who ran the kingdom at the time were hunting the dragon, and it's revealed that they killed the dragon's babies, and the king was spared in exchange for 3 daughters every generation to be sacrificed to the dragon. And it's revealed that instead of giving actual daughters, they trick people into marrying the prince. They, have some of both, cut their hand and have their blood, conjoined so that it'll trick the dragon into thinking they're royal blood, and send them to be sacrificed to the dragon. I hate this twist so much, and there's a specific reason for that. It's because during the final battle, which is incredibly shitty, because all of a sudden, she's this big girl boss, she cuts her hair right before the battle because the dragon kidnaps her sister. How the dragon knows it's her sister, it's never explained. But she does the Mulan thing where she cuts her hair for no reason. At least in Mulan it made sense, here it does not. Where I guess it's supposed to symbolize how big of a girl boss she is, and suddenly she knows how to fight with a sword, even though she hasn't touched one throughout the entire movie. She hasn't touched any kind of weapon throughout the entire movie, unless you want to count the axe she was cutting wood with, but that doesn't exactly help you be able to fight with a sword. She goes after the dragon, and manages to beat the dragon in a fight, because of course she does, and the dragon had ample opportunities to kill her. Even to a point where it actually set her on fire, her torso on fire, and yet she survived just fine because she fell in some water. and she's laying on the ground, injured, unable to run anywhere, and her sword is like 50 feet away, and the dragon just slowly stalks her, basically waiting for her to pick up the sword for like 5 minutes. I mean, it probably wasn't that long, it was probably closer to like 2 or 3 minutes, but it felt like forever. And just kind of wait, and it seems like the dragon only wants to do killing moves whenever she has a way to get out. I also should bring up that the guy who wrote this also wrote Fast X. Yeah, that's the kind of script we're dealing with here. So she beats the dragon through some bullshit, and for some reason we're supposed to feel sympathy for the dragon, because, oh no, she was tricked by the kingdom. She was killing other innocent people. Oh no. We're supposed to feel sympathy for a dragon who wants to kill innocent girls just for being related to other people. Well, I guess nowadays everybody wants white people to feel bad about slavery, despite slavery not being a thing in the United States for almost 2 centuries now, so I guess that was what they were going for here. But it doesn't make sense in real life, and it doesn't make sense here. But, of course, Elodie teams up with the dragon, and they go take out the kingdom. So, let me get this straight. I know that the king and everything killed the baby dragons, but they saw the dragon as a threat to their home. So, we're supposed to feel sympathy for the dragon that's being tricked into killing the wrong people, even though it's going to be killing innocent people for being related to people who died centuries ago, but we're not supposed to feel any sympathy for the kingdom for being forced to give up people in order to protect their home. Now, I get it, that they're sending innocent girls to their death to be killed by a dragon. But it's at this point, it's sacrifice a few people for your kingdom. It's like, no, there's no correct side here, but that's the entire point that I'm trying to make. The movie's trying to act like the dragon's the sympathetic one, but it's not. By the way, Elodie figures this out based on basically fuck all. They pull up Percy Jackson and the Olympians, where she just kind of puts it together. It's not like the dragon talks about why she's here, and then she kind of puts everything together. No, they had to pull the shitty Disney Plus Percy Jackson route, where she just kind of figures it out of nothing. And they both destroy the kingdom. Her father apparently went after the dragon because he apparently knew he was sending his daughter to her death, so he went after the dragon to go save her, and he died in the process. What happens at the end? Her mother, and her daughter escape. Her stepmother was stabbed, by the way, and I guess she just walks it off because I guess another girl boss. I guess the black woman can't die in this movie. And yeah, Elodie's plot armor throughout this movie was just insane. There's so many opportunities dragon could kill her, and it just chooses not to, just lets her get away. And there's a shot at the end that blatantly rips off Season 8 of Game of Thrones, where it's kind of different, where she's walking and the dragon's above her and the wings kind of come out. It's like supposed to look like her. It looks ridiculous. It looked a lot cooler in Game of Thrones. And yeah, this movie is awful. This is just more woke Netflix trash, and did you expect anything else? That's all I expected out of this movie. This movie gets an F. So, that's all I got, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.